The dark truth behind it's supposed to be hard, discover what they never told you. In a time when challenges define our character, what if the truth behind struggle is darker than we ever imagined? As people bustled through an ordinary Wednesday, whispers filled the air, charged with a sense of impending revelation. Among them was Amelia, just an average girl with a fierce smile, walking into her therapy session, utterly unaware that today would be unlike any other. She'd heard the phrase, "it's supposed to be hard," her whole life, drummed into her head like a chant, but what did it really mean? What heaviness lurked behind those simple words? The clock ticked ominously, echoing in the room as Amelia settled into the worn leather chair, its texture rough and aged like the countless secrets it had witnessed. The therapist, Dr. Harrington, sat across from her, his eyes gleaming with unsettling curiosity. Was he eager to unveil the truth hidden beneath the commonplace? But then, strange sounds filled the room, thumping, rattling, like the cries of the disappointed. Amelia felt a tightness in her chest, her heart pounding like a drum. A shiver ran down her spine as the lights flickered, bathing the room in eerie shadows. Suddenly, an unexpected scream pierced through the silence, a heart-wrenching cry from down the hall. It was as if the very air in the room thickened with dread, wrapping around them like a suffocating fog. Everyone in that building could feel it. A collective shudder echoed. The receptionist's hands trembled over the keyboard, her face ashen. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, eyes darting around, searching for safety. It felt wrong, unsettling, as if something sinister was just beneath the surface of their everyday lives, waiting to erupt. Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As Amelia sat there, dread bubbling within her, she couldn't shake the feeling that the truth of struggle was right in this very room, a lurking beast, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. The door creaked open, revealing a shadowy figure standing ominously at the threshold. Who was this unexpected visitor? Why was Amelia feeling a strange pull toward the darkness that had just entered? She felt a surge of panic, her instincts screaming to flee, yet something held her in place. Was this the moment she had been waiting for, or an awakening to a nightmare? What was it that they had never told her? The figure stepped into the dim light, casting an unsettling silhouette against the wall. Amelia strained to make out the features, her pulse racing. It was a young woman, hair wild and unkempt, eyes wide with a mixture of fear and desperation. There was something haunting about her, as if she were a ghost brought back to relay a crucial message. "Please, you have to listen to me," the woman cried, her voice cracking under pressure. "It's not what you think. They're watching us." Dr. Harrington leaned forward, a strange intensity radiating from him. "Who is watching?" he demanded, his calm demeanor now laced with urgency. The woman's gaze darted toward Amelia, locking eyes with a desperation that made Amelia's heart race. "You don't understand. If you don't know the truth, you'll never escape this." "What truth?" Amelia stammered, words barely escaping her lips. The air felt electric, charged with something heavy, an unseen force pushing them toward chaos. The receptionist gasped, her face contorting in horror as she interrupted, "You shouldn't be here. You need to leave." But the woman pressed on, ignoring the warning. "I was like you, just a girl trying to be strong. But every time we struggle, they feed on it, they thrive in our pain. You have to break the cycle." Amelia felt an icy chill wrap around her. Break the cycle? But what did that mean? Her mind raced, juggling questions like a fragile juggling act. The words were reaching her, coiling around her thoughts, but the fear of what she might discover was as potent as the urgency gripping the room. Dr. Harrington stood, towering over the woman with a mix of authority and concern. "You need to leave now. You're putting everyone in danger." But it was too late. With a primal scream, the lights shattered, plunging the room into darkness. Amelia felt her way toward the door, heart pounding as chaotic voices clashed around her like wild animals fighting for survival. In the dark, she could hear the woman's voice, now closer, muffled but urgent. "Amelia. Find the truth. You're not alone. You have to fight them." The hand that gripped Amelia's wrist was warm and steady. With every ounce of strength, she pulled free, instinct guiding her movements. She stumbled through the doorway, her heart racing wildly. She heard the sound of a struggle behind her, crashing furniture, and gasps of disbelief. Once outside, the fluorescent lights of the hallway were blinding. Panic peaked in her chest as she caught her breath, staring back at the chaos she had escaped. Something sinister lurked within the building. It was not just a therapy center anymore but a twisted monument to unspoken grief. Suddenly, the lingering thought struck her: what if everything she had perceived about her pain was a lie? The truth she had been taught to embrace was a facade, and the reality stretched far beyond her understanding. Just then, a figure burst from the shadows, locking eyes with her. Dr. Harrington, face etched with determination, but something darker loomed within him. "Amelia!" he shouted, urgency coursing through his voice. "You must remember what you learned today. It's just the beginning. We need to talk." But whom could she trust? Amelia's heart raced, caught between realities. What awaited her wasn't just a choice but a path paved with horrors unseen, as the shadows whispered the truths they had withheld for too long. Would she dare to discover what resided in that darkness? As she hesitated, a figure moved in the distance. Someone was approaching, and the darkness seemed to ripple around them. Amelia took a deep breath, ready to confront the unknown. But would she emerge as a survivor or be lost in the shadows forever? Amelia's mind raced as she stood frozen in the blinding hallway light, the tension thick enough to cut through. Dr. Harrington's face, a strange blend of worry and resolve, was barely visible beneath layers of shadows that seemed to cling to him. "Amelia, we don't have much time. We need to move," he urged, his voice urgent but laced with something unsettling that sent a shiver down her spine. She opened her mouth to respond, but the words never formed. Instead, she found herself instinctively taking a step back, retreating from him and the growing sense of dread. A sharp intake of breath caught in her throat as the chaos from the room behind her lingered in her ears, a cacophony of panic and pain that felt all too familiar. "Please," Dr. Harrington pleaded, his voice rising above the distant screams. "Trust me. If you want to know the truth, you have to follow me now." Trust him? She felt her pulse quickening, confusion wrestling with an innate instinct for self-preservation. Shadows danced in her peripheral vision, whispering secrets she wasn't ready to hear. "Who else can I trust, then?" she managed, her voice trembling. "Together, we can reach the truth. You're stronger than you think. You've already seen it." He stepped closer, his eyes burning with intensity. But before she could process any of it, something dark shifted at the edges of the hallway. A presence, looming and substantial, pressed against her. It was no longer just shadows, something malicious stirred behind them. The air grew colder, filled with a sense of hunger. "Stop playing games." A voice echoed from the shadows, sharp and grave. "You think you can escape this? You're far from safe." A flash of fear gripped Amelia's heart. The voice was chillingly familiar, a twisted reminder of her past that sent her vision reeling. She turned slightly, squinting against the light, desperately searching for the source. "Amelia," the voice trailed off into an echo, mocking, taunting, growing nearer with every heartbeat. Dr. Harrington's expression shifted, his countenance darkening, almost imperceptibly. "They can't know what we're planning. We have to go now." Then he grabbed her arm, and she felt the raw desperation in his grip, urging her forward, out of the corridor. She stumbled after him, her mind whirling in disbelief. What was happening? The hallway opened up to an emergency exit, a metal door standing ajar. The blinding fluorescent lights flickering above cast unsettling shadows behind her as they rushed forward. Each step felt heavy, weighted with the dread that something was chasing them. "Amelia!" Dr. Harrington called, his voice mixing with the sound of a distant alarm. "Once we get outside, we need to go to my car, and I'll explain everything." "Everything?" She gasped, a skeptical flutter in her chest. "What is happening? Who was that voice?" He hesitated, guilt flashing across his features before he found resolve. "They are the ones who control the cycle. If we get caught." His eyes widened, a fear she sensed with her own heartbeat. Amelia couldn't help but look back into the heart of the building, knowing that darkness awaited. The fear of what might be hidden inside amplified her apprehension. But the threat looming before her was just as lethal. They burst through the door into the night, racing across the gravel parking lot. The air was cool, brisk against her sweaty skin, but there was no comfort there. Just then, the ground beneath them vibrated an ominous warning. Tires screeched, and headlights flooded the night. A dark van skidded into view, engine roaring, wheels tearing through the gravel. "Get in!" Dr. Harrington shouted, pushing her toward the passenger side. As she climbed in, dread clawed at her throat. Who were they now running from? And what kind of truth did Dr. Harrington have hidden away? Before she could ponder further, the van sped off, the engine growling like a trapped beast. Outside, the world blurred into a whirlpool of night, while Amelia's mind grappled with one terror-stricken thought: how deep did the roots of her reality penetrate? But as the shadows thinned, an unsettling realization crept in. What if the truth was more monstrous than the fears she had always carried? At that moment, a chilling thought pierced through her chaos. What if escaping one nightmare awakened another? What if this journey was just the beginning? She shot a glance at Dr. Harrington, haunted questions brimming within. But all that remained was silence, stretching between them as they hurtled into the night. What lay ahead was as uncertain as the shadows they'd left behind. The van roared down darkened streets, every bump sending a jolt through Amelia's body. The sound of the engine drowned out everything, but horror still clung to her. She locked her gaze onto Dr. Harrington, desperate to find answers in his expression, that mixture of fear and determination etched across his features. "What did you mean by they control the cycle?" Amelia asked, her voice trembling but edged with urgency. She had to know what danger pursued them, what truth lay just out of reach. He hesitated, his gaze flickering to her before diverting to the rearview mirror, scanning the darkness behind them. "It's complicated. They manipulate events, they've done it for years. If they find us," he trailed off, swallowing hard. "Stop doing that," she snapped, frustration boiling over. "If we're in danger, I deserve to know what I'm up against." Dr. Harrington's jaw tightened. "You're right. The truth, it's unsettling. But it's also crucial," he said, voice low and steady. "They experiment, Amelia. They watch us. All of us. There's a reason you're involved. You felt it too, haven't you? The cycle, it's all part of a bigger plan. They don't want you to escape." Her heart thumped violently in her chest. "What bigger plan? Why me? I'm nobody." "Far from it." He shot back, the intensity in his eyes growing, a mix of admiration and dread. "You survived something others didn't. You have a strength they fear. That's why they're coming for you now." Amelia's thoughts spiraled. She wasn't just running from something, she was the target in a perilous game orchestrated by unseen puppeteers. Shadows touched her mind, whispering warnings of the past she couldn't escape. A sudden crack shattered the tension. Gunfire echoed through the night, sharp and invasive. Dr. Harrington swerved, gripping the wheel with fierce resolve. "Hold on!" he shouted, accelerating as the van bucked under the onslaught. The bullets shattered the back window, glass exploding inward like a storm of knives, sharp beads of fear dancing across Amelia's skin. She flinched, covering her head as panic clawed at her throat. Where were they? Who dared to attack them? Get down! Dr. Harrington roared, launching the vehicle into a reckless turn. A frantic glance in the side mirror revealed the ominous shapes, dark figures closing the distance, their faces obscured by shadows. Amelia's body tensed. What do they want? Everything. He breathed, the vehicle skidding around corners. To keep you trapped in their experiment, to keep the truth buried deep. We have to get to the safe house. I can explain more there. Safe house? She barely managed to ask, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Was there really a safe place from this chaos? Trust me. He shouted, eyes wide, wild from the rush of adrenaline. Keep your head down. With a jolt, Amelia braced herself as he slammed on the brakes, narrowly avoiding a collision with a concrete barrier. The thundering roars of their pursuers filled her ears, urgency tinged with despair creeping into her soul. Ahead, the road sparked with light underneath a flickering street lamp. A fork appeared left towards the main road, a path leading her home, or right into darkness. Right! She yelled, and he obeyed instinctively, sweeping past the barrier into a narrow avenue. They jostled through shadows, branches slapping the sides, but something felt eerily familiar, like she'd been here before in another life. Faces flashed in her mind, fragmented memories that screamed for recognition. A fleeting glimpse of someone pulling her back, an urgent warning lost in the noise of her past. Which way? Dr. Harrington bellowed as their pursuers plowed closely behind. I don't know. She cried, panic slipping into her voice. Then, in a whisper, she added, but I feel something. It's leading us. Before Dr. Harrington could reply, a sharp screech echoed, and headlights flooded the rearview mirror with a blinding glare. A new vehicle joined the chase, weaving alongside them. They weren't alone anymore. Brace yourself. Dr. Harrington shouted as he twisted the wheel. The van jolted violently, tires screeching against the asphalt's grip. Did the darkness deep within her heart welcome the chaos, or was it the only way to discover the truth? Beneath the roar of engines and bullets, one thought echoed in her mind: how did she get wrapped into this terrible web of fear? The van barreled into the uncharted night as the world around blurred with uncertainty and dread. Yet, among the chaos, Amelia knew one thing: it was far from over. What awaited them at the end of this twisted road? What awaited her in the shadows of her own heart? Dr. Harrington's grip tightened on the wheel, muscles straining as the van lunged down the narrow street, a wild stallion running from a storm. Shadows twisted as they sped past, branches snatching at the metal like desperate hands. The headlights from the pursuing vehicle sliced through the dark, illuminating the panic on Amelia's face. Stay low. He barked, his voice rising above the chaos. Every heartbeat thudded in her temples as she pressed herself against the cold, hard floor of the van, her breath quickening. The heat of the moment was suffocating. What do we do now? She shouted, worry coating her words. She could almost feel the eyes of their pursuers on the back of her neck, hot and hungry. Make the next turn. We need to lose them. Dr. Harrington's jaw locked, determination eating away at fear as he veered sharply. The tires screeched in protest, the vehicle threatening to tip over. A loud crash resonated from behind them, metal crunching and breaking. They weren't just being chased, they were under attack. Amelia's stomach dropped as her thoughts whirled. This felt so unreal, yet there was a clarity to it, as if echoes of this moment danced in her memory. The van jolted violently, and she shot up, her heart racing. What happened? They're ramming us. Dr. Harrington answered breathlessly, panic creeping into his voice. The rearview mirror revealed the menacing vehicle crawling closer. Blackened figures leaned out, guns gleaming under the moonlight. Don't let them get close. The desperation in her tone stirred something primal within him. Dr. Harrington slammed on the accelerator again. The engine roared, and the van surged ahead, but the sounds of chaos felt like a looming shadow, ready to swallow them whole. Amelia fumbled for her seatbelt, securing herself even tighter. Where's this safe house? She gasped. Just ahead. I promise. His voice broke, the weight of their situation pressing upon him like a boulder. He glanced at her, his eyes filled with quiet fury and fear, and for a split second, she felt a flicker of hope in his resolve, but then, a deafening bang echoed through the air, followed by a wet thud against the side of the van. Amelia screamed, pulling her knees tighter to her chest. Look out! A barrage of bullets riddled the air, the sound of splintering glass accompanying the scatter of debris. One of the shots hit the tire. The van veered sharply, and Dr. Harrington wrestled with the wheel, his face set in concentration. Stay with me, Amelia. We can do this. Just hold on. He shouted, but fear infected the edges of his determination. Through the thickening smoke and confusion, a flicker of something, a memory, passed through her mind like a lightning strike. A place. A name. She gasped, suddenly certain. The old warehouse. It's not far. He squinted through the dark, desperation melding with the realization she spoke the truth. I know where that is. But we don't have much time. He hit the accelerator harder, pushing the van toward its limits, the engine screeching in protest. A few more blocks. Amelia urged, each word shaking with a mix of fear and adrenaline. She could almost feel the breath of their pursuers, hot on her neck, the promises of agony whispering through the tension. But then another bullet struck, the impact shoving her sideways. No! She screamed, heart racing faster, desperation clawing at her throat. She could almost taste the fear thick in the air. Ahead, the warehouse loomed against the moonlit sky, a dark sanctuary in the night. All they had to do was reach it. Nothing mattered more than that fleeting goal. But just as they neared the entrance, the engine sputtered, choking against the weight of its own fear. Come on! Dr. Harrington cursed, slamming the wheel, his eyes wide as he fought for control. Please! Not now! The van lurched, then suddenly died, coasting into the shadows. The headlights cut off, plunging them into darkness. Out! Now! He yelled, panicking. Amelia's chest constricted. They would have to face the darkness outside, the menacing figures now closing in. But she wasn't ready to let fear consume her. Dr. Harrington! She shouted, resolve igniting inside her. We can't give up. Not now. As the door swung open, a chilling wind rushed in, and the weight of silence pressed against her. The footsteps approached, pounding like a clock counting down. What awaited them in the shadows? What hidden truths would they unearth at the warehouse? The moment Amelia stepped out, the air shifted. The cold wrapped around her like an unwanted embrace. Her heart raced, the pounding echoing in the stillness that blanketed the warehouse. She scanned her surroundings, her breath visible in the chill. Shadows loomed, stretching like fingers toward the van, toward them. Dr. Harrington stumbled to his feet beside her, eyes darting wildly as he grasped the door for support. This way! He hissed, urgency slicing through his voice. He pointed into the darkness, where old crates and rusting machinery formed a maze of potential hiding spots. Amelia nodded, adrenaline pumping through her veins. We need to find something to defend ourselves. No sooner had they moved than the pounding of boots reverberated through the night. The figures were close, their muffled voices slicing through the silence. They went this way. A deep voice growled, sending a shiver down her spine. Over here. Dr. Harrington hissed, leading her behind a stack of weathered crates. The scent of rust and decay filled the air, mingling with the dust that danced in the sparse beams of moonlight. They crouched low as they listened, breaths shallow. What do we do now? Amelia whispered, panic spilling on every word. Dr. Harrington's expression hardened. We wait. If they come close, we have to fight. Her chest tightened. She didn't want to think about fighting. Memories of the shots firing, the panic swirling around them made her stomach churn. We can't just stay here. A loud crash shattered the night. The sound of footsteps grew louder. One of the shadows stepped into the dim light, one of their pursuers. His figure was tall, his face obscured by the darkness, but the glint of a gun was unmistakable. "Where are you hiding?" he called, a menacing smile threading his words. His voice dripped with confidence, as if he had all the time in the world. "Keep quiet," Dr. Harrington murmured, inching closer to Amelia, pressing his back against hers. She felt the tension radiate from him, a wall of determination protecting her. Suddenly, the pursuer turned to his companion. "Split up. We'll find them. Just keep an eye out." Amelia's heart sank. "They're going to spread out. They'll corner us." Dr. Harrington's grip tightened on her arm. "We need to move now, while we have a chance." "Where?" Amelia asked, fear knotting in her stomach. "Towards the back. There has to be a way out." They darted away from the crates, skirting the edge of gloom. Shadows threatened to swallow them whole. Every step felt like a betrayal of the silence they clung to. They moved cautiously, the sounds of their pursuers receding momentarily, drowned out by the frantic thumping of her heart, but as they reached an archway draped in shadows, the world erupted again. A shout pierced the air. "They're over here." The frantic whispers of her heart echoed in harmony with the footsteps. Drawing closer once more, they stumbled into an open area littered with debris. Piles of metal and forgotten equipment loomed like sentinels. Amelia's eyes darted around, desperate for anything that could shield them. Her gaze landed on a heavy pipe lying askew on the ground, its cold surface promised the weight of protection. "Grab that," she whispered urgently as she lunged for it, hoisting it up. Dr. Harrington grasped her shoulder, concern flickering in his eyes. "Just be ready." With a hard swallow, she nodded, feeling adrenaline course through her. They backed into the shadows, waiting, breathlessly silent, tension building like a pressure cooker's steam. Then, through the haze of darkness, a form stepped into view, illuminated by a momentary beam of moonlight. "Where are you?" The shadow called, a chilling grin spreading across its face. Doctor Harrington shifted beside her, every muscle tense. "Amelia, don't move." But before she could respond, the shadowed figure turned their way, eyes narrowing in recognition. "Found you." The sound of a gun cocking cut through the air like a knife. What would they do now? Were they backed into a corner with nowhere to escape? As dread wrapped around her, thoughts of their last chance vanished into thin air. They had to act fast or risk becoming shadows themselves. Amelia's heart thundered in her ears as the looming figure inched closer, the gun gleaming coldly under the sporadic splashes of moonlight. There was no mistaking the lethal intent behind that smile. An adrenaline-fueled rush made her skin prickle. "Dr. Harrington, what do we do?" She barely managed, the words choking in her throat. "On my count," he whispered, eyes locked onto the assailant. 3, 2, 1. Just as he hissed the last number, Amelia swung the heavy pipe with all her might, instincts overwhelming the fear. It connected with a dull thud against the man's arm, forcing him to stumble back. The gun went flying into the air, landing behind a row of rusted machinery with an echoing clang. "Run!" Dr. Harrington shouted, propelling Amelia forward as he followed close behind, both knowing there was no time to waste. They bolted deeper into the maze of debris, ignoring the pain that shot through Amelia's arm where the pipe had slipped. The darkness swirled around them, alive with the sounds of their pursuers regrouping. "They'll be on us fast." Amelia gasped, her lungs burning, but her legs screamed for more speed. She dodged between piles of scrap metal, their jagged edges like claws reaching out. "Left. We can climb up." Dr. Harrington pointed to a rusting fire escape hanging precariously against the wall. A glimmer of hope ignited in her chest, but it was faint, just shadows dancing in the chaos. They scrambled up, the metal rungs creaking ominously beneath their weight. Each step was a gamble, a chance for escape or a fall into crushing darkness below. Almost there. Dr. Harrington encouraged as they reached the top. Amelia glanced down, the ground now a desolate graveyard of twisted metal and broken dreams, but above them was a rooftop sprawled with looming shadows, their refuge potentially just steps away. They crawled over the edge, pulling themselves onto the rooftop, gasping in relief for half a second. But it didn't last long. A loud voice broke through the night. "Get up there. They can't have gone far." A chill crept over Amelia's back as her stomach knotted again. Panicking, she and Dr. Harrington ducked behind a chimney, their breaths heavy and labored. "We can't stay here," she whispered, horror flooding her senses. "They'll search everywhere." Dr. Harrington's eyes widened with realization. "If we can find another access point, the building next door. It's still under construction. We can jump and hide jump." She echoed, the word tasting like lead on her tongue. The distance felt insurmountable, but the urgency trumped fear. "Amelia, it's our best shot." She nodded, steeling herself, feeling the weight of their situation. They moved stealthily, hugging the roof's edge, their eyes scanning for the closest ledge. The soft thud of footsteps echoed across the rooftop. Someone was getting closer. "Now!" Dr. Harrington shouted, and with no more time to contemplate, they leapt. The world spun as she soared through the air, landing hard on a stack of scaffolding. Pain shot through her ankle as she clutched a wooden beam to steady herself. "Are you okay?" Dr. Harrington whispered urgently, glancing back at the rooftop, where shadows swarmed like angry wasps. "I think so," she replied, testing her weight. Just then, a loud crash erupted behind them. Their pursuers had made the jump, too. "Run!" They scrambled down the rickety framework, racing toward the flickering lights that could only belong to the street below. "Go, go, go!" Amelia urged, adrenaline coursing as they flew over the makeshift platform. The chaos turned the world into a blur, a dance of shouts and fear. Suddenly, as they reached the last beam, the scaffolding trembled. "Hold on!" Dr. Harrington yelled, the structure swaying as his weight shifted. They reached the end just as the floor beneath them began to splinter. They had to take the leap once again, but just as they prepared to jump, a figure appeared, silhouetted against the city lights, a final barrier between them and freedom. "Thought you could escape?" The shadowed form sneered, stepping closer, a gun now firmly in hand. There was nowhere left to go, just the unknown stretched out behind them. In one swift moment, Amelia realized, if they were going to fight, they had to embrace the truth. "Dr. Harrington!" she cried, adrenaline surging through her anew. What was the price of their escape? Would they dare to learn the darkest truths behind their chase, or would this chase trap them forever? Amelia's heart raced as she locked eyes with the figure on the edge of the scaffolding. His gun glinted wickedly, a cold reminder of the deadly reality they faced. The air thickened with tension, wrapping around her like a vice. "Move!" Dr. Harrington growled, his voice a low rumble that stirred Amelia from her paralysis. She forced herself into action, stepping back slightly, the unstable scaffolding creaking beneath her. "Drop your weapon!" Dr. Harrington shouted, rage-infused desperation fueling his words. The assailant, a tall man with a wild mane of hair and a smirk that could curdle milk, tilted his head, the gun unwavering. "Oh, Harriet, you still think you have a chance?" His laugh echoed sinisterly against the metal. "You think you can run forever? Who are you?" Amelia demanded, surprising herself with her own bravado. He stepped closer, the gun leveled, eyes narrowing. "Let's just say I have a stake in all of this, a very personal stake," he sneered, glancing back over his shoulder as if expecting more company any moment. Amelia felt the lump in her throat. "Why? What do you want from us?" "A simple truth," he replied, voice dripping with menace, "that you've buried deep. All the information slipping through your fingers like sand. And I intend to collect." He took a step closer, shoving the gun toward Dr. Harrington's chest. "You've been running long enough. Back off." Dr. Harrington bellowed, raising his arms in a gesture of defiance. In that heartbeat, everything shifted. With a swift motion, Amelia lunged forward, fueled by desperation, a wild, instinctive gamble. She barreled into the man, knocking him off balance. The gun went off, the loud bang ringing out across the night, sending birds flapping from nearby trees. Amelia and the man tumbled to the ground. The gun flew from his grip, skidding against the metal structure. She felt the shock of adrenaline coursing through her as they wrestled, his grip strong, but her resolve unyielding. "Get it!" Dr. Harrington shouted, scrambling to grab the weapon. Amelia kicked out, catching the man in the gut. He grunted and released her for a split second. She dove for the gun, her hand closing around the cold metal just as he lunged forward again, but this time, she was ready. She rolled onto her back, pointing the gun at him, palms sweating as she struggled to summon courage into her voice. "Get back. I swear I'll shoot." The man froze, surprise flashing in his eyes. "You won't do it. You're not a killer." "Oh, really?" She shot back, her heart pounding, yet clarity slipping in. "You don't know what I'm capable of." A moment of stillness hung in the air. Dr. Harrington hovered close, processing the scenario. But before anyone could speak, loud footsteps thundered behind them. Their pursuers were catching up. "Amelia. We need to go. Now." Dr. Harrington urged, glancing back nervously. The man chuckled, resuming his wicked smile. "Run while you can, but know this, the truth will find you, and when it does, you'll wish you had done it when you had the chance." With that, he wheeled away, disappearing into the shadows as another set of boots clattered against the metal. "Let us go, Amelia." Dr. Harrington pulled at her arm, urgency sparking. They sprinted down the scaffolding, leaping off the last rung as another shot rang out, ricocheting off cobblestone, just missing them both. They hit the ground running, hearts racing in tandem. Amelia glanced back instinctively, the darkness swirling, the echoes of chaos behind them thickening around the corners of her mind. What did he mean? There was no answering that as they dashed forward, the alleyway narrowing, a dark tunnel leading into the unknown. Danger licked tails around their heels, certainty fading as Amelia's mind raced with the thrill of questions begging for answers. "We can't stop, Amelia." "Not yet." Dr. Harrington urged, and she dug deep, pushing herself forward. But as they neared the streetlight, bathing a small corner in glowing warmth, Amelia spotted something on the pavement below, a scrap of paper fluttering in the wind. She hesitated. "Amelia." Dr. Harrington tugged at her. "Don't." Yet, curiosity drew her in. What truth awaited her in that fleeting moment? It was a gamble, but one she felt she had to take. Was this the key to their survival, or a trap set by an enemy they barely understood? Amelia's feet stopped, almost against her will, as her eyes locked onto the piece of paper dancing on the ground. The shadows of the alleyway loomed behind them, dark and hungry as if waiting to swallow them whole. "Amelia, please." Dr. Harrington's voice snapped her back to the urgency of the moment, but something whispered inside her, a soft but insistent call to uncover what lay in front of her. With a quick tug, she snatched the paper from the ground. Heart racing, she unfolded it, the chill of fear clawing at her throat. Her fingers trembled as they revealed the jagged letters scrawled hastily across the page. "It's happening tonight. Meet at the old warehouse. Bring the files. Follow the light," she read aloud, her voice tinged with disbelief. "Files?" Dr. Harrington exclaimed, eyes wide. "What files? This is insane, Amelia. We don't have time." "I know. But what if this is a way to understand what is going on? He said the truth would find us, right? What if this is it?" Amelia's mind buzzed with possibilities. The danger of following the lead was immense, but so was the potential for survival. Dr. Harrington shifted his weight, glancing nervously down the alley, where the rapid approach of footsteps echoed ominously. The weight of the decision pressed against her like a thick fog, each heartbeat a reminder of the lives at stake. What if it's a trap? He questioned, worry etched into his brow. What if it's not? She shot back, feeling the pull of something deeper than just fear. We can't keep running in circles. If we want answers, we have to take risks. Before Dr. Harrington could argue further, the sound of heavy boots thundered closer. Amelia's lungs burned as she considered the choices weighing heavily on her. She could feel the force of fate urging her forward, and it felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Fine. Let's check it out, Dr. Harrington finally relented, his voice strained. But we stick together, and we stay alert. The two of them dashed toward the street where the flicker of light awaited, an unnatural glow breaking through the dark calmness overhead. Every instinct screamed for them to flee, but their newfound mission surged within them. They raced forward, adrenaline propelling them into the unknown. As they rounded the corner, the warehouse loomed ahead. It was an old structure, fading paint peeling back to expose the rough wood beneath, the windows shattered like sentinels keeping watch. A solitary beam of light cut through the debris, illuminating the entrance like a beacon of hope or danger. Stay close, Dr. Harrington whispered, his voice low, just above the sound of their hurried breaths. They crossed the threshold cautiously, stepping into the darkened space where the air was thick and stale. The moment they entered, the shadows shifted, dancing along the walls, unsettling Amelia. Hello. She called out, the sound echoing eerily in the vast emptiness. Silence greeted her, and her heart raced with every echo that returned, amplifying her fears. What if Dr. Harrington started, but was silenced by a sudden noise from deep within the warehouse, clattering metal, a scraping of feet, and the unmistakable sound of unmistakable presence. Get ready. Amelia hissed, hands tightening around the grip of the gun she still held. As they pressed deeper into the gloom, sharp movements flickered from behind an old stack of crates. Amelia felt her pulse thunder in her ears. Who or what lay in wait? The darkness was alive now, promising answers but demanding a price. Then a voice sliced through the shadows, a familiar tone that sent a chill down Amelia's spine. You came. Before she could react, a figure emerged, silhouetted against the warm light flickering behind it. And with that appearance came the crushing weight of truth intertwined with betrayal. Amelia's stomach twisted. What had they stumbled into? What had she walked into after all? Just what are you hoping to find? The figure asked, smirking softly, a haunting familiarity that made her breath catch. Who are you? Dr. Harrington growled, stepping protectively in front of Amelia. And why did you send us here? Amelia's voice trembled, blending fear with a hint of determination. The darkness tightened around them, and as the figure took a step closer, the secrets they hoped to uncover began to unfurl like a ribbon pulled taut. What lay ahead was not just a revelation, but the potential for devastation as well. The figure emerged fully, and Amelia's breath caught in her throat. It was Clara, her best friend from high school, the very person she thought had vanished from her life years ago. A memory flickered, of laughter shared among mundane troubles, the easy friendship that had once soothed her. But the eyes staring back at her were cold, calculating, distant from everything they once shared. Clara? Amelia whispered, an icy lump forming in her throat. I see you remember, Clara replied, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Funny how life turns out, isn't it? You come here looking for truth and find me instead. The tension in the room thickened, the shadows crawling around Clara as her presence seeped into every corner. Why are you involved in this? What is happening? Amelia's voice trembled as she demanded answers. Clara stepped forward, the flickering light illuminating her face, twisted in a way that Amelia no longer recognized. You've been part of the experiment longer than you realize. They're not just watching, Amelia. They're counting on you to break the cycle. After all, you are one of the lucky ones. Dr. Harrington shifted uneasily beside Amelia, his gaze bouncing between Clara and the shadows that loomed outside the beam of light. This is insane. What do you mean by experiment? The fear painted on his face mirrored Amelia's rising dread. Growing up, you both heard about the struggle and how it's the essence of who we are. But you know what? It's a trap. They feed our pain, watch us break, and celebrate it, Clara explained, her voice cold yet laced with something that felt like grief. But there's a way out, and it runs through people like us survivors. Then why were you hiding? Amelia's voice echoed defiantly, her heart pounding from betrayal and anger. Clara leaned closer, eyes ablaze with passion. You know I had to. They were watching even me. But listen, we have a chance to expose them, to show the world who they really are. That's why I'm here tonight. A sudden noise erupted from outside, the pounding of footsteps disturbing the shadows. They're coming. Dr. Harrington shouted, grabbing Amelia's arm. We need to move. But Clara held her ground, eyes narrowing. You don't realize what's at stake. The truth is bigger than this moment. Heart racing, Amelia was torn. Did she trust Clara, the friend she once cherished, or flee to protect herself? She glanced at Dr. Harrington, whose face reflected the gravity of the situation, and felt the hollowness of old wounds buried in doubt. Amelia, he urged, we can't stay here. Not now. The truth, Amelia. Clara insisted, her voice rising above the chaos. If you want to end this for good, you have to choose. Footsteps thundered closer. I'll help you. Clara shouted desperately. We can unmask them together. In that moment, everything fell into place. The shattered friendships, the conflicts, the darkness, her life felt like a puzzle with pieces clicking together. Enthralled by raw determination, fueled by the memories of their shared past, Amelia exhaled fiercely, okay. Let us do this. They stormed through the shadows, adrenaline surging as they emerged into the chilling night, Amelia's heart beating as one with purpose. The cold air hit them sharply, revealing the reality of their alliance, a bond forged through struggle. A piercing cry broke through the night. There they are, get them. Dr. Harrington steered them into a corner behind a parked car, breath shaky and raw. We don't have time to waste. Clara's eyes softened, revealing a flicker of genuine friendship. We'll meet them head-on. If we expose them, if we show the world the truth, then we can end this together. Amelia felt her resolve solidify. Together. Let us take them down. The sound of heavy footsteps resonated through the night, and the shadows moved around them with eerie intensity. This was no longer mere survival, this was war. Amelia and Clara exchanged a glance filled with unspoken words, every moment entwined in fears and hopes. As they made their final stand, Amelia held the gun tightly, a steadfast reminder of her fight against her own demons. Are you ready? She whispered to Clara, who gripped her arm, fierce and resolute. Let us reveal the truth. Clara declared, shouting into the encroaching darkness. With renewed courage, they stepped out, confronting the figures who had hunted them relentlessly. The confrontation ahead was no longer a question filled with doubt, it was a promise, a resolution. What awaited them on the other side of this darkness could only be defined by their willingness to fight for truth, for closure, for liberation. Amelia took the first step forward, fear and determination woven tightly together. Now it was time to face the dark truths behind their struggles, to challenge not just the shadows around them, but the darkness within. In that moment, a fire burned brighter than the shadows consuming them, the fire of hope, fierce and unyielding. And like a spark igniting fuel, truth was on its way to unravel everything they feared. And then silence fell, the warehouse shimmered with an impending confrontation, shadows thick and palpable. What truth lingered in the air? What darkness awaited them in this final showdown? The battle for their lives and truths would awaken, and Amelia took a deep breath, ready to forge ahead. You need to subscribe now, don't waste another second. Hit that red button so you'll never miss a story that dives into secrets lurking beneath the surface. Smash that like button right now to keep the algorithm alive, and show your support for this unfolding journey. Flood the comments section below with your reactions. What did you think of the conclusion? What will happen next? Your insights matter, so let us hear them, and don't wait, even one more second. Share this video with your friends. They need to witness this emotional finale. Join the movement, embrace the truth, and walk with Amelia and Clara into the darkness. Together, we rise.